In the story Star Witness, Christ, whom said one of his many names includes Solomon, as the son of the root of David, the son of the king of all kings, from Zion. In other words, the son of King David. He said when the World Trade Center fell on Ethiopian New Year, it was the start of World War III. And due to the falling of the World Trade Center, it started a never-ending war against terror. And not only did the deaths within the building affected the world, the building itself was called the world. So the building fell on the world's birthday. So let's read for this new year. Ethiopia and the Ethiopian people have passed another year in their successful striving for a better life. And an inventory of the past year makes us confident of continuing achievements in this year and the years ahead. Haile Selassie I, the king of all kings, the king of Zion. For the kings of Ethiopia are literally the kings of Zion. Let's watch.
He became governor of the province. In 1928, he led the troops that killed Empress Zoditu's husband, who was not of royal blood, and became regent. He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah, power of the Trinity.
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. God is himself. So let's read about Zion. O Zion, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord, and was called from the beginning. O Lord, who bearest rule, and spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam, without soul, which was the workmanship of thy hands, that death breathe into him the breath of life, into paradise, which thy right hand and planted before ever the earth came forward. And thou gave him commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed, and thou appointed death in him, and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. So who is Adam? This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him, male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. In other words, Adam is plural. Adam means couples, because from one comes two, and from two comes three, and from three comes everything. That's basic human understanding. And it lets you know straight up. With Cush, this one who was born there, and respecting Zion, it will be said, each and every one was born in her, and the Most High himself will firmly establish her. Jehovah himself, who goes by the name of Selah. For he let you know that all my springs are in you. In other words, we are all Ethiopians, or we are all from Zion. So let's watch. So this year, considering it's a new year, we need to stop repeating bullshnizzle. For example,
we was in the explosion. We was in the lobby, and then the third explosion, the whole lobby collapsed on us.
What was it like? What was it like?
Horrible. Horrible.
You don't want to know.
The whole building just collapsed on us inside the lobby.
Was that a secondary explosion?
Yes, it was.
That was the
explosions. It wasn't a plane. We need to stop repeating bullshnizzle. So let's watch.
Behind the gentleman in the pink shirt, you're going to see two big bold numbers. It says BB18. Those are fuse holders. Now look at all three pictures and look at how many boxes of plastic fuse holders that can be used for remote control demolition. And ask yourself, why would art students from Israel and Austria be having thousands of fuse holders? This building was built in the early 1970s. They weren't electricians. They weren't redoing all of the electricity in that building. You know, think about this. Okay, so
think about this. If Jesus was not born on Christmas Day, how could you possibly say he's Christ? That's the same way of saying two planes knocked down these three buildings. Hello.
I get this book out and I'm waiting for my shipment of books to show up, and I literally had a voice say to me, look into this. Those fuses, by the way, come from a company called Littel Fuse, Littel Fuse Company. They're located in Chicago. And some little voice said to me, take a look into this Lytel Fuse Company, where all of those fuse holders behind those artists are. And now some of those artists are guaranteed Mossad bomb experts. And that's in the DEA document that you can read. So I find out that Lytel Company is a subsidiary of a corporation called Tracor, Tracor. Now, Tracor, they went bankrupt and split their company. They were a government contractor. They split them off into Tracor Aviation.
Hello. Wake up. Wake up.
Where you were? I was on the 81st floor. Tell me what you saw and heard. It just, I had 40 people in there, just an explosion. There's a light flash out my window. My whole doorway to the entrance in my office blew open. My office was freaking out. I just told them to calm down and get to the center of the office. Everybody was fine on my floor, and we just started heading down the stairs. I heard people were trapped in the bathroom. I ran to the bathroom. It was just blown out. I asked if anybody was...
No mention of the plane. Why? Because it was clearly explosions. Hello.
Hundreds of security cameras filming the check-in areas, the corridors, the lounges, the airport bars and restaurants, etc. The question is, how many time-stamped images do we have that show us the presence of the 19 terrorists at any of the departing airports on September 11? More than 100? Only one? Not at all? About 30 different images. The answer is none at all. We don't have a single time-stamped image showing us even one of the 19 terrorists at the airports on the morning of September 11. The only thing we were shown is a sequence depicting 3 of the terrorists at the Washington airport. But this sequence does not have a timestamp, and it was filmed with a regular camera, not a security camera.
Hello. Wake up. Wake up.
I have had long conversations over the past 2 weeks with contacts at the Army War College, at its headquarters, Marine Corps, and I've made it absolutely clear in both cases that it is 100% certain that 9/11 was a Mossad operation. And what I showed them immediately afterwards, the third building at the World Trade Center going down, WW3. And they look at that, and I said, now you understand that if one of the buildings was wired for demolition, all of them were wired for demolition.
So another year we're going to repeat the same stuff and act like we didn't know what we don't know. So unless we accept with a clear conscience the Bible and its great message, we cannot hope for salvation. In other words, Adam means couples. They, them, their. Follow God, not man.